Alrighty, we are live. Hey everybody, how are you this afternoon on this lovely Thursday? I've had my hair done today, so I'm feeling super ready for a live stream. And I've got an awesome treat for you today. I've got Marisa Robinson from Marisa Robinson. Are you still Marisa Robinson Digital or Marisa Robinson Instagram Coach? In between.
It depends what day it is and what hat I'm wearing. The Instagram coach is the road that I'm going down now.
Yeah, cool. So we'll talk more about that. So Marisa Robinson, who was in my last round of the social formula, and Marisa had some great breakthroughs with offer clarity. So that's what I wanted to get her on to share with you guys because it's super, super powerful stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over to you, Marisa, first off, to introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about you while I bring up these streams on my phone so I can see any other comments that are coming through. And if you're on live, please let us know that you're here. Always love to hear from you. So over to you, Marisa.
Okay, cool. Well, my name's Marisa and I am a Instagram business coach, but for the past 6 years, I've been a digital marketing consultant working with small businesses to enhance their online sales and presence. And I absolutely love it. I love working with smaller businesses and really watching them grow and to excel online, especially if it's a space they're not confident in. But in the last, I'd say 12 months, I've really wanted to niche down myself. As most of you all know, digital marketing is a very broad scope, and it's almost impossible to be directly across every single touch point. But Instagram is a platform which I've always had a really strong passion for, and I've been a user of Instagram pretty much since it launched on a personal and professional level. So I decided that I wanted to kind of pivot and really start to focus on Instagram services to help small businesses strategically use it to grow their brands.
Yeah, cool. I love that. Hey, Hannah, how are you? And I think that's a really great point that you make, that, digital marketing is huge. It's such a broad scope now. There's so much to it, and you really can't be a master of all of those things. I mean, you could try, but you'd probably end up trying to work 50 hours a day, and that's actually not even humanly possible. And even the platforms now, even if you just look at Facebook and Instagram just as two platforms, they're so diverse. There's so much you can do on each of them. And it's really getting to the point now you need to really buckle down even with one platform. Even if you're going to teach Facebook and Instagram, you kind of need to have one that you're a really big expert in, I think. So I love that you've taken off with Instagram, because Instagram's become huge in the last few years, and it's definitely a platform people struggle with. I think they find it a little bit more challenging than Facebook. Because there's a few little intricacies. Sorry?
Yeah, when it comes to using Instagram, I guess, personally versus professionally to help grow a business, I find that most of my clients, while they can do some of the basic things, when it comes to using other touch points within the platform, like Reels or IGTV or even stories, a lot of them kind of don't understand how to utilize those touch points to strategically, make sales or generate leads. And, it's almost like a whole new world for them.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Yeah. So, hey, Ange, how are you, love? Good to see you here. And Amanda's on. Hey, Amanda. So I guess at the moment, if anyone's just jumping onto the start, they probably think, well, you sound pretty clear about what you're doing. But before you join the social formula, which is my program for people offering social media services, you were having some challenges around a bit of clarity with your offers. So I'd love for you to share what those were with everyone.
Well, I guess because, like I mentioned, there are so many touch points within Instagram, I knew of the services that I wanted to offer, but I just needed more clarity around how to offer them, because, I wanted to be able to obviously help everyone and, provide that service efficiently, but without really honing down and being clear on the offers, it would just become confusing, not only for the customer, but also for me. And so I just needed some clarity around that, and also what that looked like in terms of pricing as well.
Yeah, because before that, you were mostly doing a lot of done for you stuff.
Yeah.
Mainly content.
One-on-one, essentially.
Yeah.
And I did want to try and move into more of a one-to-many model as well. So while I guess I'm not doing that right now, that's definitely the next step for me. Like, I want to be able to help more people.
Yeah, definitely. And you also had a few clear goals around moving not just in the done for you space into a bit of a teaching space as well, which is different to, here's the content I need to create, here's your content. You're moving into that different space of teaching someone, which can, and I mentioned this on a live the other day, when you're going from a space of done for you service into a teaching space or coaching space, whether it be one-to-one or one-to-many, doesn't matter. There is a small pivot or change that needs to happen in your message. And also even your target market to a certain degree, because you're not necessarily wanting to attract the people that want to outsource. You're wanting to attract the people that want to learn it or have a team member that wants to learn it. So a lot of people think, oh, well, you know the skill. It should be really easy to go from I'm delivering the service for you to teaching it, but it's not actually, that transition isn't always as easy as what people think.
Absolutely. And I think as well, just understanding how to have all those other touch points ready to go too. So it's not just as easy as teaching someone. It's like, okay, well, what materials do I need to prepare? Like, what tools will they need? How is that all going to be housed? How is that going to be delivered? And there's just so many other touch points that come into play, rather than just, okay, this is how you do it. And, making sure that you're servicing your clients properly.
Yeah, for sure. All right, who else is on? Shaz. Hey, Shaz. Love the new hair. Oh, I tell you what, that was great self-care getting my hair done today. I did not have the best morning, I'll be honest, but I feel like a whole new person now that I'm sitting here with my hair done. All right, so I guess, what was the impact then for you at the time, feeling those murky feelings about your offers? And I think it's a good conversation to have, because so many people feel murky with their offers. I've been through it. I went through it last year. I think your offers are always something that's going to evolve, but you go through stages where you feel really cool with them and they just flow and everything feels really organic and beautiful. But then you get to a place where it's a little bit of push and pull and it feels a bit murky. So what was the impact that was having on your business, and I guess on you too, because you are your business?
Well, yeah, I felt like I was on a bit of a hamster wheel. I kept going around in circles. Like, I had all these ideas of what I wanted to do. But I guess I didn't have the clarity around each individual offer and how it would be presented or how it differed from the others. And so it was a little frustrating, because I could see where I wanted to take it, but I just needed some clarity and help in terms of getting those ducks in a row and, simplifying things a little bit so I could move forward.
Yeah. I know, not just with yourself, but other people, obviously, that I've worked with. Sometimes when you're trying to put your offers together, it's like you're so connected to the process that all your offers sometimes seem to blend into this big puddle. And you feel like you're just splashing around in the puddle trying to figure out which one's which and how that fits where, and where does that fit in my business, and which one do I focus on the most. And I think when you're running your own business, and you're particularly in for us guys in social media, where you're so present and you're delivering everything, and not just social media, but there's plenty of other businesses that do that. Sometimes in the day, you're going from creating one thing to delivering another service. So I could go from creating a new program to doing a one-on-one with someone who's at the basic bare level of social media, to then doing a live stream in my course creation group. And by the end of the day, sometimes you feel jumbled because you're going from spot to spot all day. And the word I use is murky. It just makes you feel like you're wading through mud sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of days like you said, with social media, especially this week, I've been jumping from creating IGTV to doing reels to putting together training guides and new offers. And it helps to have that clarity, so at least it's it makes it easier to get each task done, and you kind of have your I guess you're more aligned to what the overall objective and goals are, rather than just okay, I need to keep creating, I need to keep putting out offers. It's like, no, what's the core objective of this offer, and how is it going to align with the rest of my business goals?
Yeah, and we can often go, that's a really cool idea, I'm going to do that. And you can get caught up in that shiny object syndrome without having the strategy behind it to go, yeah, look, maybe I don't need to do that. That can be someone else's idea. Like I'll have heaps of ideas. I gift them to people, because I'll have a client and I'll go, you should do that. I think it's a great idea, but I don't want to do it because I don't have room for it. And I mean, like, also too, like, you're a forward thinker. So you created your Reels tiny offer as well. And so that's a digital product that you've got, like, teaching people how to create Reels. And so, you're putting into place all this growth stuff. So it's really easy to get murky with your offers when you're working on new stuff, trying to transition and all that. So the opportunity to have a container for clarity is important, I think. And that's where investing in yourself and your business becomes really critical, however you choose to do that. So, like, last year I invested a lot in practical business coaching. This year I'm investing a lot in more personal coaching to help me with my next personal upgrades, which will then flow onto my business. So, whatever that looks like for each person listening, I think everyone knows what sort of upgrade or support they need at the time. But when you so you joined the Social Formula, which we ran in December, and that was really what you brought to the table, was wanting that clarity around your offers. So what would you say the diamonds were in that 6 weeks for you?
I think really establishing my leading offers. Like I mentioned, I had so many different ideas and things that I wanted to do, but really honing in on what that leading offer was, and like as the primary offer, and then what the other ones would be, but weren't necessarily my core focus. And for me, I really managed to narrow it down to being my strategy sessions, which I love doing to help smaller businesses just get that clarity, and they're all customized to their goals. But just knowing that that's my primary offer, everything else just kind of naturally stems off that now, or it's a natural progression for the next step, depending on where the client wants to go. Sometimes they're happy just to continue on their own, which is fine. And other times they require extra help. But kind of knowing that starting point has just made it so much easier. And everything is just kind of naturally flowed from there.
Yeah, cool. So if anyone's online and they have, like, any questions they want to ask Marisa about this journey, please jump in. And if anyone, I guess, just has any questions around, how to create offer clarity, just jump in and ask. Either of us will obviously be happy to help or answer them. You can't actually see the comments unless you put it up on your phone, but I'll read them out if anyone puts them in. And I think, like, that's a really good point about what's the thing that you lead with. And I've been talking to people about this for, a few years. I think sometimes it comes down to I can do all of those things, but I don't want to be known as that person. And I'm like, well, yeah, so what do you lead with? So you lead with Instagram. Someone else might lead with YouTube's, like, if we're talking in a marketing sense. Someone else might lead with Facebook ads, or, to be known as that person. Doesn't mean to say if someone wants help and support with something else, once they're in with you, that you can't do that for them. Exactly. And I think people think that because you say that you're this type of person, or this is the thing that you're known for, that you can't then do those other things, but you totally can. Like, once someone's in and they're working with you, of course you can do that. That's absolutely 100% your choice.
And I think that's where, for me, like, having that background as a digital marketer has really come in handy. I'll start with someone with a strategy session, and then we'll start talking about their email strategy. And when, they let me know, oh, I don't really have one, that opens a new conversation, and we can start talking about that. So it's definitely worked to my advantage in that respect. But also having that clarity makes it easier for me. Whereas when I am doing digital marketing work, and you're expected to wear all the hats and know everything, you can lead to burnout really quickly. Whereas with this, I know what I'm leading with. I know that it's Instagram that's my focus. And then everything else can just, become a natural extension as it's needed, rather than an expectation at the time.
Yeah. And it takes that pressure off you too, know, that you have to be an expert in, like, Facebook and Facebook groups as well. Like, you can just really then do the things that you love, which is Instagram, and you're really good at it,
Well, I guess that's been a passion for a long time. And I did some, on top of the Social Formula, I did other coaching programs last year. And, it just really made me realize that I can't physically be everything to everyone when these platforms are becoming so complex that, you really need to be an expert in what you're doing rather than having your eggs in all the baskets. But like you said, not to say that you can't help with those other things, but really taking the lead in one of the core offer or the core thing that you want to be known for.
Yeah. And I think too, the permission slip to say it's okay to have other stuff there that you can offer people. You don't have to have this like really confusing marketing plan where you're marketing every single thing it is that you do, right? So for example, like I've got digital products, you've got a digital product. There may be times when you promote that, but it's probably not the thing you're going to be sharing mostly all the time. But it is something there you can have in your back pocket. If someone comes to you and maybe they're not in a position to work in a coaching space, they're not in a position, let's use your Reels program as an example, they're not in a position to financially outsource to get you to do it. They're not in a position to financially outsource, get some coaching done. You've still got that there to go, well, here, this can help you. Like I can still help you at this stage. And that's okay too, to have that. Like it's okay to have a multi-layered business. That's absolutely okay. But to have a successful brand that has, clients coming in consistently, that clear message, that resonant messaging about who you serve, what you do, and how you help them is really important. So that's where that, for you, I saw once you got that clarity around what you were leading with, I saw it in your posts, I saw it in your content, like it was just so clear to you. And you even like your energy even changed. Like you were standing taller in your videos and everything. It was really cool. It was cool to watch. And
I didn't have to be, in a sense, at that point, like I didn't have to be everything to everyone in that moment. Like I knew what I was there for. And even just going back, I guess, to the pricing structure and things like that, it can be really hard to price your offers if you're unsure of where you're sitting in the market or how your product differs to other people's, or even just how you, I guess, value your own self-worth and where you position yourself that way. But going through the program and starting with like, those smaller offers and kind of having it tier up, again, it just made a lot more sense for me to do that. And then it made promoting my offers easier. Because like you said, I literally have everything at every touch point to suit every budget, depending on where that person's at and what they're able to afford and what they want to do.
Yeah. And so let's have a chat about, the clarity around your pricing, because I know that was a big one for you. What did that look like for you as well?
Well, I guess since the social formula, like I started with some pricing in mind. I have increased my prices since then. A lot of it, I think, came down to me and not feeling confident not in my product, because I knew what I was offering was of such good value.
Yeah.
But it was just the stories I was telling myself. So to kind of have that more logical conversation around pricing and how, you can position your offers, it just helped make it a lot clearer. And like you said, I then became more confident in asking for that price, because I just felt that it aligned to my offer, but it also aligned to me as well.
Yeah. And I think for those of you listening out there, like what Marisa's kind of talking about is when in the program, we talk about, tiering your pricing. And, because Marisa does have a multi-layered business where she has a digital product, she has a coaching or a strategy option. She also has done for you services, working out what those tiers looked like and getting the right pricing so she could, up the prices on her really premium services. So that became the premium thing. Like, you want to work with me in the most premium way possible. This is what it looks like from a price perspective. And then it just aligns your prices a lot better. And I think, when you aren't clear on your offers, your pricing is usually really murky too. And it's usually all over the place. Like, you'll have random pricing on one thing and you can't then get behind marketing it because you're not attached A, to the offer, or B, to the price. So once you clarify all of that, then again, it helps you, which is, I've mentioned this in other live streams in the last 2 weeks, is when you get that clarity and you've worked out what brings you joy, what do you want to stand for, who do you want to serve, what does that look for you, you get your pricing right, doesn't mean to say it needs to be the highest price. Just so long as it's a price you can get behind, then you will show up for it.
Yeah.
And you'll show up for it every week. And you show up weekly, daily, you know, on your stories and everything. And you've been doing your Q&As on Instagram each week?
Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea because I do get a lot of people, like whether it's my in-person clients or just DMs on Instagram asking me, you know, different questions around using the platform for their business. And I thought, well, why not share these answers with everyone? And so I just decided to launch it as a series. And yeah, every Friday I just share an answer to a question which has been submitted. And yeah, hopefully that helps people on their journey. And again, that's just another way for people to see, I guess, how I can help them if they're not in a position to, you know, invest in one of my products or services. But it's a part of, you know, my content strategy and the way that they can, you know, keep up with what's new or what's happening to keep running their business and utilizing Instagram to grow.
Yeah, cool. And there was another question. Oh, yeah. So I was going to ask you too, because this is another thing people really struggle with. And it's usually when they're not clear on their offers and they're not clear on their prices. They're like, am I giving too much away on social media? Am I not giving enough away on social? And there's that real confusion about what do I share? What do I not share? How did that also then impact your content?
I think I always try and keep the idea in mind. I share the what and the why. And
not the how. Yeah.
Even though I can't help it. I love sharing the how because that's just what lights me up. But the how is going to be different for every single business and every single person. So you can say how in a general way. And, you know, in most cases I do because I do love to share and I do love people to be able to take a learning and go and apply it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that how is going to be totally applicable to either their business or their strategy or what they want to utilize Instagram for. So I think, just being clear on that just helped prepare my content because I know now every week, okay, these are the pieces of content that I want to share. This is the core objective that I'm focusing on right now, whether it's, you know, lead generation or engagement or whatever it might be. And then just focusing my content and my messaging around that. Yeah.
And that makes life easier too. Like when you've got offer clarity and you know where you're going, your content becomes so simple. Like it becomes so simple to create it. And usually I find when people are struggling with content, it's because there's lack of clarity behind that. That's really the problem, not the content itself. It's the other things that they're not clear on in their business. Totally.
I think otherwise you're just kind of creating for the sake of creating content. You know, and sometimes we do that and, you know, you might feel stuck or not sure of what to post but once you kind of bring it back to your strategy and you bring it back to your offers and then you keep your ideal client in mind and, okay, this is what I need to be delivering to them in order to attract those people or to, you know, start deeper conversations, then it becomes really easy.
Yeah, definitely. And it's nice once it becomes easy and it flows. You know, so, it's so much more calming.
Especially when, you know, you're trying to juggle a lot of things. I mean, Instagram's now almost 6 platforms within one with all their different features. So I think if you don't have that clarity, and, you know, I don't recommend that everyone's on top of every single one. If you're not mastering at least, you know, posts and stories properly, I wouldn't be encouraging you to be going ham on IGTV and lives. But just even being able to branch out onto those other touch points, if you don't have a clear plan or it's not in line with your offer, it's going to make it really hard.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. People often go into like multi-platform marketing with this scattergun approach of, it's just totally scattergun. I'm going to use YouTube now. I'm going to create YouTube videos. And, you know, sometimes a strategy for that can just be as simple as share your Facebook lives onto YouTube. Like it doesn't have to be overcomplicated either. So like my main platforms are Facebook and Instagram and my podcast, I'd say would be my next one after that. And then, you know, I use LinkedIn really badly. I'm not even ashamed to say it anymore. I just cannot buy into that platform. whatever. I know people love it. I'm not saying it's terrible. It's just me. It's just me. But, you know, like YouTube, I'm like, I've got so much great content out there that could go on YouTube for people that could search for it and find it just as a placeholder. So I'm in the process now of putting all my podcast episodes on there. And, you know, now I put all like my live streams, like this will go on there. And to me, the strategy for me with YouTube is just, it's a placeholder. Doesn't mean to say it needs to be a complicated strategy, but so long as you know what it is. Yeah. If you don't know what it is, then it's scattergun, and you start trying to create content on 6 different platforms, all different types, and it's exhausting. Absolutely exhausting.
And I think that we create so much, why not repurpose it? You know, even if it's going to help, you know, like you said, it's not your primary platform, but if it's going to help to get more of your content out there and also generate more leads and people who might come over to, you know, your Facebook page or Instagram or whatever it might be, then you might as well utilize it.
Yeah, I think 2021 is going to be, we're going to see a big uptake in people doing a lot more repurposing and recycling of content.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So after working through all of that and getting all that clarity, what does the future look like now? Like what's in store for you now?
Well, I want to launch a course at some point, again, kind of focusing on the basics of Instagram, because the more people I meet, the more people still do struggle with those things. And so I want to launch a course. I'm also going to be doing a stories challenge next month. I'm going to say
that sounds like fun.
It's out in the universe now, so it kind of has to happen.
I love it how you're like, I do that too. I actually verbalize something and put it out there, so then I have to make it happen.
Well, now I've said it, so I have to do it. So yeah, I want to do a stories challenge, and I'm also literally today in the process of updating my Reels beginner's bundle, which is a step-by-step training manual on how to create Reels, which is great if you've never created one before. But because there are so many new features within Reels, I wanted to just give it a bit of an overhaul so it was completely up to date. So lots of exciting new things that I'm working on.
Yeah. And you're wanting to do some local workshops too, aren't you, in your local area?
I've done some, like, not so much recently, but in the past I've done some online workshops, and I do love them, but I just love that human-to-human interaction. And thankfully, down where I am in Wollongong, even though we're safely social distancing, it's been quite good. So we can at least get small groups together, and I could teach them like that. So that'd be something I would love to do this year as well, kind of going more towards that one-to-many.
Yeah. And like, so that whole thing, like with the workshops and then obviously a course and things like that, would that have been further away, do you think, down the path for you had you not done that work last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even think I could have fathomed doing any of those things. Like, I've had in my mind for a while doing workshops, but even just executing that and being clear on it without being clear on my core offers, I don't think I could have done it properly, or probably just done it to a point where I did it justice. But now I feel so much more confident in terms of, okay, yes, here are my primary offers, here are my primary services, but let's kind of move across here and help people who want to learn in different ways too.
Yeah. So it's really helped you get to that stage of growth and expansion even faster, because, you know, once you move into creating courses, that opens up another whole level to one-to-many, you know, where you can be servicing people, not just even in your local area, because a lot of your clients, when we first met, you were still going to see them physically. So there was, you know, that travel, they had to be within a certain, you know, distance from you for you to physically be able to service them. And, you know, in this short period of time, you're now getting to the point where you're looking at these things where really you can be reaching people all over the world. And
like, even this year alone, I've been fortunate enough to be working with people in the UK, Malaysia, around Australia, and I've probably been able to connect with people more through my online services, more than I have had to actually physically go and see other clients who I'd normally be going and seeing at least once a fortnight. And I'm so grateful for that. And, you know, obviously the power of technology and being able to connect, especially through these times, but it just makes things so much easier. And, you know, it's just instantly connects us and keeps us connected.
Yeah. I always say that was one of the great things about COVID, is it really got people to be comfortable working online. So I used to have it even too, where I'd have people, I want you to come see me face to face. And then because of COVID, we couldn't. And I couldn't cross, I could cross borders, but it was a pain in the butt for me to have to cross the border. And I just really, as soon as that happened, it was just like, you have to use Zoom. And now I don't leave my house. Like, I do all of my calls in my house, you know, and it's awesome. I freaking love it. Like, I think that was a great thing about 2020.
I mean, that's my preferred method. I love just, you know, being able to work from home, but I still have a few clients, even locally, who like that, I guess, that one-on-one training and the physical aspect of being there, which is totally fine. But again, it comes back to that offer clarity. You know, if you do want me in that one-to-one capacity in person, what does that look like price-wise compared to getting me for an hour on a Zoom call? Exactly. It's going to be very different. And before, I didn't really have any, I didn't have any clarity around how that differed. I'd just be like, oh, they get an hour of my time. Okay. But now they're getting an hour of my time in person versus online. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. And then, you know, energetically again, then when you go to see that client, sometimes the energy is really murky then, and you're not really showing up in the best way. So getting that clarity and having, you know, the offers and the pricing all stepped out nicely. It's like, yes, I can show up for this now. And you come with just such a great energy, and you get more out of it, they get more out of it, and everyone just gets more out of it. So it's a good place to be. So if obviously we start our next round of the social formula next week, and you were in the first round, which I did as a beta round. And the way I run all of my group coaching programs is once you're in, you get access to all the future launches. And every time I run it now, so you will get to experience that again. And I know that a few of the girls in there that didn't get to finish all the content the first time, which is fine. That's life. Like, I totally understand that. Are excited about the next round, being able to jump on Zoom calls. And I find with a lot of programs that things like, you know, you might work on one thing at one time, but then the next time there's some Zoom calls or some live coaching on offer, you can jump in and catch up on the next thing it is that you're working on too, which is really powerful. So what would you say if anyone's like, yeah, I've been seeing this chick talk about this program, I'm not really sure, what would you say?
I would say to do it. Like we mentioned before, if I hadn't done it, I would still be in a lot of the old, mindset that I was in, and I wouldn't be as far ahead as I am now. Like, I'm so clear on my offers that now I'm thinking about doing things like courses and workshops, which wouldn't have even been on my radar if I didn't have all those foundations set. And I think as well, just the community that you create within the program is so strong. Like, I still talk to a lot of the girls within there. I love that. It's just so nice to, have each other's back, support each other. And also you're connecting with people who might be offering something completely different to you. So it's a great way to build like your referral base. So you'll have people you can, I think it's Tanae, she's amazing at Facebook ads. So I always send people her, like I'll send people her way if I have things for that, because that's just not a thing that I want to focus on. So I think it's just, that really strong sense of community. And I'm looking forward to the next round as well, because like you said, I'll still jump on the lives, because you can always learn something new from re-listening and re-watching again. And especially now that I'm thinking of different offers and different courses, well, I'm kind of having to go back to scratch in those respects, and like, okay, if I do a course, what's that going to look like, and think about that offer and pricing as well. So I guess it can apply to different things. Yeah,
definitely. And I think even as a facilitator, like, there's other messages I'm going to bring to the next live round too, because I've evolved in the last few months. And that's the benefit of communities like that, is you get to not just you get to do it as you evolve, you get to see the message in the facilitator evolve as well, and experience that and have that growth too. And I've loved, like, same with me, like, some people said to me when I was creating it, why would you want to teach people in your niche? They're just going to take potential clients. And I'm like, no, I need to have a community of people that I trust. I don't want to do Facebook ads. I don't want to do, I only do one-on-one with people in my programs now. So if I get leads for people that aren't in programs, because I just don't have the time or the space, I want to be able to say, I know someone who can do strategy for you. I know someone who can do hashtags for you. For me, it was more expansive for me to have that community. And also I wanted that safe space for people to talk openly, because you might have challenges going on in your business with clients and stuff, and you don't want to broadcast that in a free Facebook group because you feel like you're going to you might, be putting something out there for people then to question, how you're running your business. And having that safe space where you can ask those questions and, bring something to the table, like, this is what I've priced, or I'm not sure what to do with this, or this contract's coming up with this client, what do I do now? Like, it's really nice to have that space to do that. And then
the environment that you created, not at any point did I feel like by discussing my prices or talking about my offers, I never felt like it was like a threat or, someone might take my ideas, because everyone was just so supportive and, wanting to help each other. And I guess it doesn't really matter because we're each going to do something unique to us in our own way. And the delivery will never be the same, no matter who it is. But, there is enough for everyone. And so being in that community where we can all just kind of bounce off each other and help each other grow, whether you are kind of aligned or doing similar things, it never felt like it was a threat or anything else. It was just a great, community spirit.
No, I love that about it too. And like I was talking to you guys in the Voxer thread the other day, like my plans are, to be able to put job leads in that group for you guys when it's, I'm niching so far down into just courses now and just online courses and digital products. I'm not going to have the capacity to do as much coaching, like I said before. So I need to have that space where I can comfortably send people to people that I trust and that I know. And that's really cool too. I'm really looking forward to that. So thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great to have you on. I think I put in the caption, you're full of sunshine and sunflowers, because your colors are like yellow and you always have sunflowers.
Always have sunflowers.
And tie-dye. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's cool. So where can everyone find you? Like, if anyone wants to follow you, connect with you, chat to you, where can we find you?
You can find me at Marisa Robinson Digital on Instagram, Facebook, my website, all across those, but Instagram primarily, because that's where I put the most content and I show up most frequently.
Awesome. All right. So thanks everyone for jumping on live. For those that are watching the replay, definitely if you've got any questions or anything you want to ask or comment or weigh in on this topic, if you've got any questions about your own offer clarity, please pop them in to the comments, and I can come back, or Marisa can come back later and we can chat to you in there. This will be pinned to the announcements post in the Facebook group, and it will be the pinned post on my page. And I'm in the process of putting all of these live streams over onto my podcast as well as a series. So there'll be all the places that you can find it. And definitely, if Instagram is your kryptonite and you want to nail it, go and follow Marisa. She's absolutely awesome, a true individual, and I absolutely love working with you. So thanks again, darling.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. See you guys.